Greetings, this is Fallon Hot. I've not done a video like this for a while. I've not streamed yet either. I said it was going to be back in January, but I never did come back, did I? Hoping February. I do enjoy streaming, don't get me wrong, but I'll explain why I've not done it yet. So, twofold. First of all, the 3DS servers shut down in April. Now, last year I started going through all the Pokemon games one last time before that happened. However, I burnt myself out whilst playing ORAS around June. So I've gone through Pokemon Platinum, Pokemon Soul Silver, Pokemon White, Pokemon Black 2. What came after Black 2? X, Pokemon Alpha Sapphire, and I'm on that right now. I'm just trying to get a few ribbons and so on and so forth. And then I'll be moving on to Sun or Moon, and then Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon. I've not decided which version I'll be playing yet. And eventually, hoping to essentially go for them, get all the ribbons I can on one or two Pokemon, and then transfer them over to the Switch versions, so I can, keep them there and probably go through Sword and Shield with one or two of them at some point. Essentially, I caught a Hawlucha, a shiny Hawlucha in the Friend Safari 12 years ago. Around 12 years ago, back on Pokemon X, my first time playing it. That guy has been with me in every game since that he's eligible to go in. Thankfully, he's popular enough that they haven't axed him from the regional the Dexes yet. Which is more than can be said for like Lopunny or Gliscor or Herdier, because for some reason the Yorkshire Terrier Pokemon was not in the region based on England for some reason. But yeah, so I want to go through all these. So if I have a day like Wednesday that I'd usually stream for several hours and instead I'm playing this, it gives me the time to basically go through all these games and get through this one last time before I can never do this ever again. So right now I've got, I started in White in terms of doing this. I caught a Garbodor in a Master Ball, named it Game Freak, because I'm not getting into it. And it has been on the final team in pretty much like every game so far. At least for the end game, because up until up until Sun and Moon, HMs are still a thing. So I'd have a HM slave in the party, which means I'd have 5 out of 6 fully leveled members right at the end. At which point Garbodor would come in just for the Elite Four. I'd finish off with him in the team, he'd get the ribbon, and I'd move on. But it's more than just that. I'm getting like the super training ribbons and the contest ribbons. And hopefully, this might be difficult because I really had to try several times with Hawlucha to get this. But hopefully the Battle Royale ribbon from Ultra Sun and Moon as well, that will be nice. Because he's a luchador bird. Obviously, I needed the fucking wrestling ribbons from Ultra Sun and Moon on the luchador bird. But, I might drop that one. But, yeah, I'm basically getting a bunch of ribbons. So, right now, I'm working on doing this with a shiny, Bibarel that I caught as a Bidoof back right at the start of playing Pokemon Platinum back in 2017. I just caught a random Bidoof, and I'm like, I'm not leaving that behind. And in the original game, this Bidoof named Lucky Star was my HM slave. As I've moved it on, I've given it a proper moveset. I've EV trained it, and it's ready to go, and it actually does surprisingly well. It pretty much soloed the ORAS Elite Four on its run through, which was kind of funny. Just a Bibarel kicking so much ass. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I'm going through these games. Right now, I'm trying to save up enough money to buy basically the 99999 Pokédollars ribbons for free Pokemon. That might take a bit. So hopefully, yeah. In the meantime, I'll probably just start Sun and Moon with my own unique team on that one before carrying on. And I can just go back and forth depending on what I'm doing. But that's what I want to do. On top of that, I go to these community walks, right? right? And these community walks have done a world of good for me, like more than I ever thought. I get on with most of the members there, or I just don't talk to them pretty much. Not for any form of malice or crappy. We just don't talk, or we haven't talked yet. But I got on with pretty much most of the members there, and it's done me a world of good. One of them, he does a photography thing every Wednesday, and he said that they usually finish at about 3. So I'm hoping to get in on that. I've talked with him. He said yeah, but I didn't see him this past week. He wasn't there, and the week prior when I was meant to join him, I forgot a lot of the details. I didn't write it down. I should have done, and I didn't talk to him about it at the start of the walk, and by the time the walk ended, because I was talking to new people. Because when we get new people, I like to, if on occasion, depending on how I feel, what vibe I get from them, I like to make them feel welcome and not just be ignored whilst everyone kind of merges in with their own little cliques. That happens with people and groups. It just does. But, because the first time I was here, somebody went out of their way to talk to me, and we had a great conversation, made me feel welcome, and I want to do that for other people. Plus, social anxiety helps push me forward a little bit, But I was talking to these guys, and by the time I got back, he had left. So I couldn't talk to him about that. So I just had to guess, and it never happened. So I want to go on one of these photography outings with him and one of the other people he knows, and sort that out, see how long it takes, and whether or not I can still stream on a Wednesday while doing this. Because I love streaming, but going out there and taking up photography again, which I've not done properly since 2019... that's just going to be better for me than sitting on here for several hours. Admittedly, I love talking to my friends while streaming. I love talking to people like Zephyr who show up now and again to check it out. It's great, but taking up photography again, getting out in nature, pushing myself a little bit out of my comfort zone, it's just going to be better for me. So if I can do both, I will. But I want to figure out whether I can do it first, rather than promising you guys that I'm going to start streaming again and then fucking it up or canceling last minute, right? So that's what's going on with that. I want to figure out if I can get out, I can do it, and whether or not I have the time and, more importantly, the energy to stream when I get back. Now, considering the fact that I stream to basically just a handful of friends and some people who have just started watching me, on average about like 2 to 5 people. It really varies, but it's like, yeah, not many people. It's just a hanging out with friends kind of thing, right? So, yeah. What have I been doing beyond just playing Pokemon? Honestly, just getting on with life. I'm working on my fitness goals. I'm trying to get back down to 12 stone. If I manage it, 11 stone, so I can tie the buttons on this leather jacket again, because I can zip it up, no problem, but the buttons won't. The buttons will pop open, basically, because I've gained weight. And I want to get back to what I think is right. In my initial weight loss, I didn't have a goal, just lose weight. I went down to 10 stone at one point. I looked too gaunt. Like, this was just bone. Like, I didn't have any cheeks. I looked too gaunt. So that was too low. I am banged on 6 foot, and 10 stone, for someone my height, too low. Around high 11, so say 11.6 to 11.10 to like low 12s. So like 12.4, something like that, 12.6. I'm happy with that. That is around my weight frame, I think. I need to get around down to that, see how I feel. But that's around my weight. But right now, I'm very aware of my flap of my stomach. I used to be an estimated 24, 25 stone. If you go back and watch some of my older videos, you see just how worse I used to look. I was a lot fatter, I was a lot greasier, just in general I didn't look good. And in truth, depending on how far back you go, it's because I didn't care. I was depressed. And when you're depressed, hygiene is not something on your fucking mind. You don't give a shit. These days I do. I try and take care of myself. And again, things like the beard and the hair, it's a daily routine that keeps you on top, and it helps. It helps. So, yeah. Hello. Are you deciding to be part of this? But yeah, so I take better care of myself these days because I have the mentality to. And because I've done this for about so many years now, I have a certain pride in how I look. As I've said before, I'm not a supermodel, but these days when I look at myself in the mirror, I like what I see. I have issues with my body because I'm not great, but I certainly don't have issues with what I'm capable of these days. I'm a lot fitter than I used to be. I can do a lot more than I used to be able to, and I take pride in it. I've even considered, depending on if I can get my way up there, taking part in like a walk marathon, because I can walk that well at this point. My average speed, at least on the treadmill, does go above like 3.75 miles per hour. I walk quite fast. I look like I'm about to kill someone. I walk that fast, and I can be consistent with it. You know, I've walked when I had the treadmill before that broke. That broke recently. I walked around 9 miles daily for a few weeks, and I'm fine. I could probably walk a marathon. Couldn't fucking run one. I couldn't run very far in general, but I could probably walk one. So things like that, you know. But yeah, it's like walking is the one form of exercise that not only works for me, but I genuinely enjoy. I genuinely enjoy it. So I'm leaning into it. Unfortunately, the treadmill broke on me. I think I overworked it, but whatever. I'm upset with that because I legitimately enjoyed going on that every night, but there it goes. But yeah, like I've been essentially these past few weeks from late December going into January, I have essentially done nothing but play Pokemon, watch Pokemon and various other shows, like catch up with the series, catch up with anime and TV shows that I want to watch mostly whilst on the treadmill. And I have been completely avoiding politics or social issues or anything like that. Now, I know this is what I've needed to do for a long time because I get myself too emotionally involved and invested, because I'm the kind of person that cannot see injustice and people being harmed without getting pissed off over it, right? Yeah, so I get emotionally invested in a lot of this stuff, but there's nothing I can do about it. So last year, I basically culled a lot of the stuff on my Facebook and my Twitter. Twitter is harder to do because of algorithms being a lot stronger than Facebook, despite me using it a lot less. The changes are harder to implement on Twitter, and also because people I'm friends with and people I'm following on there influence it as well. So what they engage with show up on yours. So right now, there are a lot more furry stuff on there because most of my friends on there are actual furries, which I'm fine with. There's a lot less other stuff. There are some political things popping up that I really don't agree with because I have friends with politics that are very different from mine because I'm capable of that, like most noble people. You know, so, but ultimately speaking, Twitter is just not something I engage with that much anymore, or in general. In fact, I engage with it more than I used to. I think it is better since Musk took over because it's not one-sided anymore. But it's still a cesspool. It doesn't matter what side of politics you see on Twitter, it's unhinged bullshit, right? Facebook's a lot better. Pretty much all I see on Facebook at this point is furry stuff, animals, memes, video game stuff, anime stuff, you know, photography stuff, the kind of shit I'm into. That's what I see on Facebook, and it's a lot better because that's the one social media I do use a lot of, and it's a lot better. So I'm involved in one group about social issues, and that's because it is a tiny private group with only a handful of people in it. Two of which I've known for many years through the Honey Badger group that Facebook axed a few years ago. And it's essentially a group about men's rights and that kind of thing, right? Now, unlike a lot of other places that claim to be about men's rights, a lot of us are on the same page. We actually give a shit about men's rights. It's not about consistently shitting all over women. It's not about being sold the alpha fucking mentality bullshit. It's not about being sold a fitness program or tradcon bullshit or pickup artist bullshit. It's about men's rights. And yeah, we do vent about women every now and again. because you would. Because we like essentially when you see how shit affects men and how a lot of people in general, not just women, but how a lot of people in general just completely either poo-poo it or ignore it, but say women have it worse in every possible situation, regardless. It's like, yeah, like remember that one thing that went around where it's like what, like 20 something percent of people are homeless, or 20 something percent of homeless people are women, something like that. It's like, oh, you mean the percentage of humanity that actually matters? That's how we're gonna get people to care about the homeless. Look, some of them are women. Yeah, okay. Doesn't that just say it all? But that's the only group that I'm kind of involved in, because we're on this. A lot of us are on the same mentality. We don't entirely share the same politics, but when we do have discussions and disagreement with things, it's literally just a casual conversation between friends, kind of stuff, right? It's not people constantly trying to one up each other or try to be the most masculine, manly man around. We don't buy into that bullshit, right? We don't buy into tradcon bullshit. We don't buy into alpha male bullshit or anything like that, right? Or pickup artist bullshit. We just focus on men's rights. And it's nice to have that one place where people focus on the issues rather than just essentially pushing right-wing politics versus left-wing politics, or outdated ideas, or fucking just preying on men's insecurities. Because that's what a lot of that alpha bullshit is. That's what a lot of the pickup artist bullshit is. It's playing on men's insecurities. You know, just like a lot of stuff so aimed towards women is doing the same thing. It's playing on this insecurities because they're just trying to sell people shit, right? But outside of that one group, I have avoided. I've kind of moved away from everything. And I've known for years that this is what I need to do, but it's hard to do because, again, I give a shit. And because I give a shit, it's hard to pull away. However, last year I had several experiences. I also had one in December as well, where I'm just, let's just say, a family member essentially said that, oh, you're playing Good Samaritan again, huh? He said so in not a mocking way, but in like an endearing way. It's like, because yeah, that's me. I'm a good person, and I know I am. There's been several instances now where over like the past few months where I've gone out of my way to help someone because I can't just ignore it. And I've been mocked for that in the past. There's a guy where I live who essentially lets his rabbit roam free. And there are a shit ton of cats here. And I remember getting a delivery at one point and the guy asked me, wait, do you know about, do you know anyone around here with a rabbit? Because I've almost just hit one. It's like, yeah, unfortunately you won't get through to them. The guy who owns it doesn't give a shit. He just lets it roam free. I've tried to kind of tell him about it and help him out. I've offered to patch up the thing at the bottom of the door just to keep it safe. Because I know, on occasion I walk these dogs really early. I don't do it right now because of the weather, but I will occasionally walk these dogs really early. And we'll see that rabbit. It's only a matter of time before it gets killed by some of the cats around here or hit by a car. But these people don't give a shit. And eventually I just have to accept. Because I give a shit. When I see a dog roaming free, I try and nab it, see if I can find where it's from, and give it back. I've done that once or twice before. I've seen somebody lost their bank cards. I've phoned up the fucking place. I've told them about it, and everyone's always shocked when you do this because people don't expect people to be good people. They don't expect it, and they're shocked by it every time. A few weeks ago, I was the park that I go through because of winds. Trees had fallen down, so the usual exit was blocked off while he took care of that. We had to go an alternate route. Well, it was rainy as all fuck, and that alternate route contained a very narrow, extremely muddy path. If I weren't wearing boots, that mud would have gone in my shoes. It narrowly missed the top of my boots. And there was a couple in front of me, the woman carrying their baby, and the guy very awkwardly carrying the stroller that the kid goes in, the pram thing. And I'm like, do you want to help with that, mate? So I help him out with it for a little bit. And in the end, it's awkward to move. So I'm like, right, give me a second. put it down, I pick it up, and I carry the whole thing myself as we get out, right? Yeah, as we get out, I put the stroller down. The guy says thank you. The woman notices me. She says thank you. No worries. I head off, and as I hear her turn to her husband and go, "So how did that happen?" It's small little things like that. I will help people if I can. I'm not just going to ignore people. I'm not just going to ignore that bullshit. And considering how shocked people are whenever you do something like that, and considering just how little you actually see that, that's not normal. And I'm okay with being abnormal in this way, because I know I'm a good person. I will never at any point be convinced by these people say, "Oh, you're a piece of shit. You hate women. You hate this. You hate that." No, I don't. I know for a fact that I'm a good person. I'm not a transphobe. I'm not a homophobe. I'm not a racist. I'm not a sexist. I'm not any of this shit. I know I'm a good person. And out of anything with like I can beat myself up. I can tear myself down. Like, the intelligence is something. Quite a few people on these walks have complimented my intelligence, suggesting I get into philosophy and whatnot because of what we've talked about. And I've said, like, I don't see it. Like, I have that thing where I know enough to know that I basically know nothing, right? I don't think I'm that intelligent. I often think I'm the dumbest one in the room. Okay, my friend says it this way, because another one of our friends is kind of the same, where we're not dumb, we're not really intelligent. What we do is we think of things differently to other people, and because it's weird, because it's different, it makes us seem more intelligent than we actually are. That's not how he put it, but that's how I'm reading it. He put it in a way to kind of like prop you up a little bit, but that's not how he put it. But it's not that we're intelligent, it's that we just look at the world and like process things differently. That's all it is. And that comes across as being intelligent, but I don't think I am. I have some brilliant friends. I have the people I do tabletop with. Two of them are published authors. One of them has been published several times. She's got a series of novels. She's involved in tech, I think. Another one, our DM, used to be a college professor, and again, they're published themselves, and she's done all kinds of stuff. I don't know about the other guys in the group, but I know everyone I'm working with are far more intelligent than I am. They're incredibly intelligent, brilliant people. And I do feel dumb around them a lot of the time. They will reference things that, like, I have interest in. Because right now, the tabletop campaign we're playing right now is largely based on mythology from different cultures. And at the end, we will get bonus experience to put in certain skills if we can correctly guess mythological creatures that show up in the setting. Because it's kind of like an X-Files kind of thing, SCP kind of thing, right? And yeah, I got one last time because it was yokai, and I've been reading a series of books on yokai. At first, I thought it was a Katsif, but then we're like, no, because the family we're dealing with are Japanese, so it's got to be something similar, right? So as we're talking, I'm flipping through this fucking book. Thank God this was a Kickstarter project, by the way. I forget the name of the guy, but he lives in Japan, and he's been translating Japanese yokai to English, and this is the first time in this country we've ever had something published like this. I've actually backed another one recently he's doing. I've got his entire collection at this point. I love that series. I've loved yokai for a long time. I have done since I played the Shin Megami Tensei games back in the day. They introduced me to the concept. So yeah, I'm skipping through it. I forget the name of it now, but it's essentially a cat, right? And I got that one. But usually I don't get them, because whilst I may know these things, and I'm familiar with them from name or look, I don't know them in proper academic detail. A lot of these people do, because they're brilliant. They're really intelligent. I've got a great amount of respect for them with that. But I'm just there for the ride. I'm not a quick thinker. I don't think on the spot. I can't just randomly think of creative solutions or anything like that. Very rarely do I have a brilliant moment. But I enjoy these people, and the game we play are chaotic, and it's a lot of fun, right? So when it comes to intelligence, regardless of what people say, I'm not sure. I know I'm not retarded. I know I'm not brain dead. I know you're not supposed to use that word anymore. I was educated in a special needs school. Don't pull that bullshit on me, okay? They're fine. Most people that can come under that, they're actually perfectly fucking intelligent, brilliant people. They're just like anyone fucking else, okay? Stop infantilizing them. They don't give a shit. If they've grown up in my generation, they don't give a shit, alright? Stop infantilizing them. They don't care. But yeah, you're not supposed to use that word anymore. I think that concept is retarded. Let people use the fucking word, okay? If people want to use autistic like that as well, fucking let them. I don't give a shit. It doesn't affect me. Like, despite being autistic, it's like, whatever. It's just a fucking term. But no, I think, but I don't think I'm very intelligent at all. I think I'm a dumbass, right? A lot of the time. But when it comes to my morality, I know I'm a good person. And none of these, like, moral bludgeons, like calling me a sexist, calling me a racist, calling me a homophobe or a transphobe or anything like that, often coming from people who hate me because of my sex, because of my skin color, because of where I was born. No, I'm not taking that for a second. I know I'm a good person. And for me, it's like a religious person trying to tell you that God will smite you, or whatever they'd say. Well, I do not believe in God whatsoever. So your attempt to discredit my character based on your worldview doesn't do anything for me, because I have zero... I view your worldview with zero credibility. It's the same thing for people trying to claim I'm a bad person based on their worldview. I hold your worldview with zero credibility, so calling me a bad person doesn't work, because I know I'm not. I know for a fact that I'm not. You know, but yeah, this walking group has done me a lot of good. I've said it a few times before. There's a guy there that used to be a professional runner. He's also a chef. He's worked with people with you know, like crappy pasts before. Amazing guy. I really like this guy. He's amazing. Every time we've talked, we've had great conversations. He's someone that's had training with people. And again, he's the only one I've ever met that has had training to deal with mental health who doesn't talk to me like a fucking invalid. He doesn't talk down to me. Really, really like this guy. He's one of my favorite people. The guy who I'm hoping to do the photography thing with, he works with mental health and special needs people, right? But he's never at any point talked down to me. Again, that's something I do not experience with people in that field. Really, really, really. Usually they infantilize me, they talk down to me all the fucking time. I get very irritated with it. So, yeah. I love that guy. He's great. He's the one I'm hoping to do the photography thing with, and so on and so forth. And there's another guy who has had experiences. I'm not getting into it because it's none of my business. But both him and his son have been at the receiving end of something that is far more common than any of us in society would like to admit, because it humanizes an element of society we are raised from the very beginning to believe is perfect. And the reason why this kind of... Yeah, so this guy, we spoke about this a few weeks back, and prior to this conversation, we didn't quite get on. There was no sparks or anything like that, but we didn't quite click. After this conversation, I noticed him relax around me a lot more, and last week we walked out around the same time together. Like, it was just me and him, you know, and he was a lot more comfortable around me after that. And we were talking about the very thing where my men's rights knowledge comes into, because both him and his son have dealt with, and his son is currently dealing with, a lot of bullshit surrounding that. And yeah, so my knowledge around that and everything around that came into play, because yeah, this kind of stuff is far more common than any of us would like to believe. Far more common. And over time, due to the pushing of, like, the overzealousness of certain elements, more and more people are starting to become aware of this, which is good, because quite frankly, I think we've flip-flopped. We've gone from a generation that essentially, we've gone from a time period essentially where people infantilized women so much that they treated them like children and thus gave them no rights whatsoever, to a period in which people infantilize women so much and treat them like children to the point where they don't face responsibility for any of their actions or attitudes or anything like that. You know, it's the same core, but the result is different. You know, at no point do men come into the equation because they don't matter, and that's kind of a problem. We're either the bad guys or we're the martyrs. That's it. You know, we are the toolbox that society uses. That's it. You know. But as I've said, like, I've avoided politics. I've avoided social things outside of this one group that I'm in, and when it's popped up in real life, I've been able to apply it in a balanced way to help people feel heard. So it's not just ranting and raving on the internet. It's not just screaming into the void. I have knowledge in this area, and that knowledge has helped somebody ease around me and feel heard. Like, yeah. We were, like, when we were talking about this, there was another guy with me we were talking about this with, who was blown away by this because he had no idea that any of this was a thing. But yeah, so, because again, it's not talked about. It's considered taboo to talk about because women are perfect angels that do no wrong, and if they did do wrong, the man probably deserved it. You know, so again, like, this is the kind of thing that breeds bitterness and spitefulness towards women. But it's important that we don't go down that path because women are human, and if men had the get out of jail cards for responsibility and repercussions that women had, we'd be just as bad. Don't fool yourself to believe that men are any better, because we'd be just as bad. But we don't have those things. They do, and it's a bit of a problem, you know. We need women to be treated a little bit more like men, and men to be treated a little bit more like women. You know? Women need to be expected to be adults once they're adults, and men need to be able to express their emotions without it being weaponized against them or be treated as lesser because of it. We need to be able to be vulnerable. And people keep saying, oh, men don't show emotions, men don't show emotions. Yeah, because it's used against us, and we've learned this very, very quickly, you know. But anyway, this is not a video about that. This is essentially a video about, essentially, I'm great. I'm not perfect, but I'm fucking great. Working on my fitness goals. I'm avoiding a lot of this bullshit, except in that one group where we're all on kind of similar pages, and even if we're not, the conversation doesn't get bullshit. I'm involving myself in this walking group, in which is branching out into other things, possibly, hopefully, and I'm keeping up with fitness goals, and yeah, I'm in a place right now where I'm getting on, and I'm enjoying stuff. I've started a gratitude journal that has kind of turned into a positivity journal. I've had a few negative entries, which are essentially, in a very emo fashion, when I've had a shit day where I really can't think of anything positive, I'll mark it with a black heart, and I'll just write what's bugged me that day. But most days have been positive, because I've been able to feel gratitude, or I've been able to mark things down that I'm happy that I've done, such as walking certain miles, eating well, pushing myself out the comfort zone. For example, a few times these past weeks, I've had experiences which I know would have triggered the fuck out of my anxiety, but it didn't, and that's weird. Now, I always have a level of anxiety. It's just normal for me, right? I've described it as being in like a constant state of fight or flight, and you know, it drains my energy. It's just gonna. Even around people I love and adore, it does drain my energy. However, I have noticed that the last few weeks, or the last few times meeting up with friends on a weekend and going on these walks, I've not crashed at the end of the day. which is weird for me, meaning I'm not draining as much energy, even around a guy who one of my friends invited recently, with my permission, of course, who I've never met before. And I wasn't anxious about meeting this guy at all. We got on well. We've got on famously. He's a bit loud. He's like on max volume 24/7. But he's alright. We get on well. I've only met him twice. Great. You know, that's 2 new people in this like group we have on a weekend now. And yeah, we get on well. And I wasn't nervous about meeting him. I wasn't anxious about it. A few days ago, I had plans. I wasn't sure about the plans. I didn't have all the details down. But at no point did I get myself anxious about it. It didn't work out, but I wasn't beating myself up over it at all. I'm like, right, well, I'll just get it sorted this week. He wasn't there this week. Right, I'll try and get it sorted whenever he's there next. There we go. No point am I getting myself anxious or beating myself up over any of this. And that's big for me. That's huge for me. It really is. And that feels good, man. And then I have a reminder of this kind of shit in my journal of positivity and bullshit. So every day, and at the end of the week, conclusion. And it's good. It's good. I am still behind most normal people because I have several years behind. You know, I'm autistic. I still don't think I'm going to be able to work. Because the fact with the walking group is I've been going for about 3 years now. Something like that. Something around that. I'm comfortable for the most part. People have very recently, over the past few months, started to see more of the real me. And it's been commented on. Not negatively, but it's been commented on. And people are starting to see more of the real me. I've just realized I've still got my headphones in. I forgot about them. People are starting to see more of the real me. You know? Even way long ago, early, like, whatever it was, when it was commented that, oh yeah, I'm starting to see you come out your shell a little bit more. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. But now, people are. And I don't know how it's going down, but people seem to be generally okay to see me. So, hopefully it's gone over well. I'm still masking, don't get me wrong. I'm not showing everyone the full, raw, unfiltered me, because I know it's obnoxious, I know it's weird, so I still hold that back. But I hold that shit back around my closest friends and family as well. So, yeah, that's just normal. But, still, good shit, you know? And yeah, so I'm keeping up with my fitness goals. I'm staying away from any form of politics or social issues that is consuming me, draining my energy, draining my mood, and dragging me down. Fitness goals. I'm just enjoying casual time playing Pokemon and watching series and just casual, relaxing video games. And I feel like I've got more time to game as well. A few of the usual plans have been cancelled for next week. So I'm going to use that time to clean up the house. I got a cleaning thing for Christmas. I'm going to put that to the test. Give the floor a good wash and scrub. I've already got plans on doing that. And because I'm thinking about it now, that means it's going to get done. It's not something I'm going to do on a whim. It's something I'm thinking about now. It's something I'm putting together when I'm in my head all the time, how best to do it, where I'm going to move things. So when the time comes, jump right to it, do it all, won't be a problem, get it all sorted, because that's how I operate. I'm just overall more organized, calmer, my anxiety isn't getting to me as much, and I don't know, I've got a more positive outlook, but not positive in terms of, yay, everything is hunky-dory, more positive in terms of, I'm okay. I'm grateful that I can see there are elements of me that are improving. I'm still not perfect. I'm far from it. I don't think I'll ever get to the point where I can be normal. But I'm getting better. And that's good. And I'm being less dragged down by bullshit. And the biggest thing about this walk is that I'm not ignoring the bullshit in the world. I'm not turning my head away while there's injustice and bullshit going around in the other corner. Because as I've said, the reason why I'm so helpful and good to people a lot of the times is because I can't just ignore shit. I can't just ignore it. I've never been able to just turn my head and ignore it. I remember one time I shocked my mother because I was outspoken in public on her behalf. She told me later how fucking proud she was of me for that. She didn't expect that. And it was a moment in which, because again, I was a quiet kid, social anxiety, stuck to myself. This was when I was at my worst. My mother couldn't sleep. She was getting pissed off. Now I can't sleep in general at that point. I'm a lot better at it now, but I couldn't sleep at that point anyway. So of course I was awake, and I could hear her getting increasingly angry. And I've got my mother's temper as well, and it builds and it builds and it builds and it builds, and then so yeah, they were a bunch of. We've got different neighbors now, but at the time, well, I've got different neighbors now. At the time, they were all sat out in the front, drinking, smoking, being loud and obnoxious, and my mother was getting pissed off. So she goes outside, and they won't fucking listen to her. So I go outside, and I speak. Can't remember what I said, but it was poignant. It fucking cut them. They were silent for a little bit. And then they basically accused me of smoking weed in the entry. Me and my mother looked at each other and just burst into laughter. Because, and they just looked at us shocked. Because, unlike the kind of family unit these chavvy fucks are used to having, me and my mother were friends. Me and my mother fucking trusted each other, right? We were friends, we trusted each other, we got on fucking brilliantly. I was a piece of shit as a kid. She went through hell dealing with me growing up. But at a certain point as I grew up, we just clicked. And we were the best of friends, we got on amazingly. She trusted me. She knew for a fact there's no way in hell I would be doing that. And they're not used to that because these are from chavvy families. They are trash examples of human beings. They're trash. Just, yeah, terrible example of people. And they do not have the kind of family unit that would trust each other that way. So when they had that, when we had that reaction, they had no react. They were gobsmacked. They had no idea what to fucking say. So they just started babbling. And in the end, they went in. We got back inside, and my mother was like, that was brilliant. I'm so proud of you. Like, that was brilliant. And I remember that fondly since. Because that was one of those few moments where, like, I fought quite a few times. I'm a coward. I'm a piece of shit. I'm useless at everything. But there's been so many moments where I've just stood up for the people around me. I've not, because I can't keep my mouth shut. When I see people being crapped on, I just can't keep my mouth shut. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not an idiot. I grew up around gang violence, right? I'm not gonna put myself in danger with this shit. Because there's a lot of people that talk shit online. Like, oh, I'd jump in, I'd save the day. No, you fucking wouldn't. And if you did, you'd be dead. At a certain point, you gotta put that aside for your own survival. I'm not claiming that I'm this big fucking superhero, don't get me wrong. But I know I have it in me where I stand up for people I care about, even if it goes against my usual nature. And I think it's surprising when it shows up. So I know I have that in me. And yeah, it feels good. But I remember that moment quite well. Don't know what the point I was trying to make there, but there we go. I've lost track. Like, I've been going on for nearly an hour at this point. I've lost track. But yeah, the general point with all this is I'm in a decent place. I'm in a decent place. I have moments where I drop. I had one a little while ago. The scales were not this. I thought I did really well one week, and the scales were like, no, fuck you, you've gained weight. So I ended up binging on a lot of food. I had a depressive moment. I bought a lot of shite. I binged on it. And then I gained a shit ton of weight after that. but I'm back down again now. Um, I guess I needed to fall before I pick myself up again. I'm like that at times where I kind of teeter around the same thing, and then I drop a little bit, and then I fucking crash, and then I have to get up again. You know, I need that every now and again. I think, just to as a kick up the ass, essentially, to motivate myself. And that's kind of in the mood I'm in now because of that recent drop. So yeah, I'm not perfect. A lot of this stuff is still there. I still need to improve stuff, and a lot like with the walking group. It's not that suddenly I don't have social anxiety anymore. It's that I've grown used to a lot of these people and this environment, so there's less shit for me to look out for all the time. I'm not as much in fight or flight, so I've got more confidence that if something pops up, I know how to handle it. So my social anxiety is not as strong. But if I took myself out for there and went to a different walking group, I'd be back to square one again. And it took me over like 2 years to get to this point. You know, that should say something. You can't do that when you're in work. You can't take over 2 years or something like that to be fucking competent. You can't do that. And work, it's not going to be as consistent either. You know, you're going to see new faces all the time, do different things all the fucking time. It's not going to be consistent. So that's going to be different. But overall, I'm in a decent place. And yeah, so as I've said in videos before, the way I am now, I don't talk or share if I'm down. I talk and share when I'm up, right? Or when I'm doing well or decent or consistently in one decent place for a long time. I do not talk when I'm down anymore because I try and just push my way through it, deal with it, and then get on. And I do know that I have friends and family who will be there for me if I need to talk about this shit. I know it. I know it for a fact. I have some amazing friends. I have some fantastic family members. And I'm willing to bet that a few people on this walk as well will be willing to hear as well if I wanted to kind of vent a little bit. I'm not on my own. I've got the security that if I need to talk, I can. But I would rather shut the fuck up and do it in my own time until I get myself up again, you know? And then I can focus on being in a good place, a better place, rather than focusing on being in a shit place. Which I think is one of the major differences between me now compared to several years ago on this channel, right? I try and showcase an element of myself I can be proud of in this channel. I'm trying not to be so emotionally driven. I'm trying not to be so reactive to certain things. I'm trying to be more the version of me that I have respect for, essentially. And yeah, you know, I'm hoping that comes across. You tell me. Like, I know there are people that silently have watched this channel for a long time, right? They don't really comment, but they've silently watched this channel for a long time. You tell me, how have I changed over the years? How have I changed over recent years? Because I would genuinely like to know, from the outside looking in, the impression I have now. Especially in comparison to what impression I gave so many years ago. But yeah, like, I don't want to give people a wrong idea. Like, I'm not a guru. I don't have all the answers. I don't think I have all the answers. I don't think I'm in this perfect, amazing place. I don't think, you know, I've achieved everything that I'm there, that I don't need to work on myself anymore or anything like that. You know, I don't think... Because I know if shit hits the fan at any point, I am going to drop a little bit. The reason why I'm in a good place now is because things have been stable for a while. Things have been overall stable, so I'm decent right now. But that can change at the drop of the hat. And with, what's it called? With government help turning into universal credit, and the way I hold myself now compared to how I used to, that's going to bite me in the ass. And I'm just waiting for that to happen now, because that is going to be shit to deal with. And having less might mean that I've got to change how I eat, and so on and so forth, and that might have knock-on effect of my health, so I'm just going to have to figure things out again. And I know, again, like, I have family members who will be more than willing to help me out with that and get me back on track. And I guess that's like the major fortunate thing about where I am in life, where I know I'm lucky. I'm so grateful for my family. They're not perfect, believe me, we have family drama. Oh boy, do we have family drama. But yeah, I know I have things in life that a lot of people don't. I have family I know I can rely on. I have friends that I know I can rely on. Right now, actually, I'm being a friend that another one can rely on because he's going through things that um, I have more experience in, and like me, when I'm in a situation like that, he gets very stressed out and fuddled, and when he gets like that, he's not taking shit in. So I'm going to be with him, and I will take stuff in, and I will help him out the best as I can, and hopefully he can get himself into a decent position. But because yeah, I know he'd do the same thing for me. He's a friend. I care about him. I've known him for most of my life. Of course, I'm going to do this for him. And that again, I'm capable of doing that now. There would be a point in my life where I would not be a very good friend because I wouldn't be able to do that. I'd stress out myself too much over it. But I'm in a better position now that I can actually help out. I can better help out the people that I care about. That is something I'm grateful for. It's not just about me, it's about the impact I have on other people. Like I said with the walking group, yeah, I'm not talking about, I'm trying to avoid a lot of the politics and social politics now, but when it comes up in real life, I can speak on it. I can speak on it confidently, and I can be a voice when it comes to certain topics that a lot of people just don't experience. And the funny thing is, this extends to a lot, because I've spoken about the LGBT as well. Because whilst I may have certain moral views and political views that some types would make me think I'm transphobic or shit like that, nah, I'll speak on their behalf. I'll put myself in their shoes. I will try to ease people into it, because they're not inherently bad people, just like any other group of people. They're not broken or anything like that. They come in a variety. And I've educated somebody, because a lot of this is new to a lot of people, and I've educated people on this as well. So it's I will talk about this stuff and try to be as even-handed and balanced as possible and realistic as possible when talking about it. Because that's what we need more of. We don't need us versus them. We don't need left versus right. We don't need black versus white. We need reality, which is a hell of a lot more varied than that. But if I can talk about it in a level way, in a caring way, to the average person, that's the kind of thing that fucking sticks. Normal conversation. And I'm getting to do that in the group. Not every week. Doesn't come up every week. We talk about basic things sometimes. But it comes up enough that it's scratching that itch. It's making me feel like I'm having a bit of an impact, like I'm affecting people in a positive way, like I'm affecting these topics in a positive way. And that is what I need. That is why I've engaged with this stuff online, because I want to feel like I'm helping. I want to feel like I'm doing some good. And I'm getting that from this walk, from talking to these people about these certain things. At the very least, I'm someone that can understand a lot of the time. Someone that can empathize. As much as it's all over television, as much as some of these conversations, some of these topics are all over television, they're all over the news, they're all over media, reality is different. And despite how often some of this stuff is just shoved in our face by media 24/7, the real world is not like that. Because I'll tell you, this area is a hell of a lot better than it used to be. But you're going to be laughed at in the face if you talk about some of this stuff and have certain stances about it. You're going to be laughed at. You're going to be ridiculed. You're going to be mocked. You're going to be looked at like a fucking freak. Because as much as media has gone completely off the deep end with some of this stuff, the real world is still a few years behind. You know, like, the meteor has gone. The real world has gone. That's it. They've moved a bit, but it's just a little bit. A little bit. That's kind of it. Like, there's a massive disconnect. You know, generally speaking, like, people aren't assholes, don't get me wrong, but the more people you introduce, the more complicated things that you get, the more chance of a negative reaction. You know, and believe me, I've spoken about some of this stuff openly whilst on the phone, and I've seen people look at me and scoff. And part of that is, in fact, influenced by the media. Because when they hear these topics, they hear what the media says about them, and then they assume what side of this conversation I'm on. Newsflash, I'm not on a side. I'm not on the left, I'm not on the right with a lot of this stuff. I do consider myself left-wing, but my version of left-wing is not the version of left-wing you tend to see these days. But yeah, I'm talking very vague because I'm trying to avoid certain topics, and obviously a lot of this stuff kind of applies to a lot anyway. But no, like, apologies for prattling on so long. I didn't intend to talk this long, but there we go. I'll try and finish before the hour. But essentially, things are chill. I'm working on my weight. I'm trying to get back to 12 and then maybe 11 stone. I'm 14 right now, 14.6 as of today. I want to get back down to that. I know it's doable. I'm trying to be more regimented with what I'm eating. For example, right now I've been eating rhubarb raw. I don't like it cooked. No. And I'm not adding sugar to it. But I legitimately like eating rhubarb raw. I just chop it up, cut it up, and not only does it make you drink more because of how acidic it is, it fills you up because it's full of fiber. It's the perfect snack. I can just have a bowl of it, like a plate of it, chopped up on the side here, take a few bites, and because I'm eating something like that, I'm reaching for water, and it adds up to make you feel more full. It's great. It's a great thing to do, right? So like I'm snacking on rhubarb. I'm often eating bowls of berries for breakfast in the morning. I'm still having my bell pepper and hummus. I'm having like steak or chicken or liver or fish from a major tea, which is a little bit of that followed by usually a mix of mushrooms, onion, spinach, red cabbage on occasion, aubergine on occasion. Mix that together, and it's the same kind of meal, just with different kinds of meat. I use salt, pepper, garlic powder as seasoning. Occasionally I'll get oregano, and it works. It's a simple, basic meal every single time, but it works, and I enjoy it. It's nice and quick, very easy to clean up, perfect. And actually, a few of my friends have complimented about how good some of this looks at this point. I'm like, oh, cool, maybe my cooking's getting better. I am not cooking for anyone. Yeah, but maybe my cooking's getting better. I've cooked what I think is the perfect steak a few times now as well, where it's like you can see the color difference, and it's gorgeous. I like steak rare, so that's for my perfect steak. Another friend of mine is being described as disgusting. Different tastes when it comes to steak, it varies, but things have been chill, things have been consistent, and I feel as if I'm heading in a good direction, and I'm hoping it is reflected. But with YouTube and shit like that, I guess the kind of outlet I used to get through YouTube, I'm getting elsewhere now, which is why I don't do it as much anymore. I also don't want to show too much negativity online like I used to. I don't want that. On top of that, I know I have family that watch this YouTube channel, and some of them are as big of a warrior as my mother, or the slightest thing, and they'll be panicking. So, I really don't want to put that online, because it'll affect them. And they have enough shit to worry about without me adding to it. So yeah, I have family that watch this, so I'm trying to put less negativity out there. If I am going to talk about something, like I've spoken about things in this that that obviously come across as negative, but again, I've tried to frame them where it's like, it's not the end of the world. It just is a thing, and there's a way to handle it, right? But, no, I'm applying stuff that I care about to real life enough where it's having a positive effect on me. I don't feel like these issues are being ignored. I feel like I'm making it so other people are not being ignored. You know, I'm getting what I need, essentially. Those itches that I have in my head about certain cravings I have in terms of getting stuff out there and helping and doing all these things. I'm scratching those itches in various ways, often in the real world. And the elements that I interact with the internet are just the final toppings, you know? Like, don't get me wrong, I couldn't just drop social media. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's like, oh, I could just drop the internet tomorrow and I'll be fine. No, I know some amazing people online. Some of them I would consider to be some of my best friends. There's no way in hell I'm dropping the internet. You know, I'm not dropping Facebook or anything like that. You know, but I'm getting a lot more fulfillment out of life than I think I used to. I'm getting a lot of outlets for the kind of interests and passions that I have that I never used to. I'm hoping to take up photography again at some point this year and hopefully go in there with the right mentality. Why did I drop it? I was too critical of myself. I cared more about the end result than the process, and I lost my passion for it because basically I convinced myself that I was terrible at it. I was shit, and I would never be on the level of a professional or even close to it. And there are people I know that are far better than I am, and I just don't know what the fuck I'm doing, so I should just stop. And yeah. So why did it get sparked again? Arguments about AI and people trying to compare AI to photography. Nah, fam. The process of photography may be more of a science than an art, but there's a difference between someone who takes a picture knowing the science versus someone who takes the picture knowing the artistry of it. There's a massive difference. Massive difference. And you don't have to go to pretentious fucking Instagram filters to reach the artistry level either. That's a misconception. If you have the photography at a photographer's eye, you can see things even before you put the camera onto it. You know, the technical aspect will know what settings to put the camera on, but the person with the eye will know exactly how to frame it, what to shoot, and what they're looking for. They'll notice details in something that somebody with just the technical eye wouldn't. There's an artistry in it, not just technical. You know, it's a lot like cooking in that regard. You know, certain kinds of food, like baking, for example, is far more scientific than there is an art. But you can't tell me that there's a difference between somebody who knows the technicals of a perfect cake compared to someone who has perfect like cakes down to an art, who is an artist when it comes to cake. You cannot tell me they're both the same thing, because they're not, you know. So I need to just enjoy the process again. I need to get in. I need to stop focusing about the end result like an AI fucking person who only cares about the end fucking result and has no interest in anything to do with actual fucking art, and just enjoy the process. That's what I need to do again. I know I won't be as good or as capable as I used to be because I've not done it for a long time, but just enjoy it. Stop thinking about the end result. Just enjoy it. So, hoping to take up photography again. Have I gone over the hour? Yes, I've gone over the hour. So much for that. But, yeah. So, I've rambled a lot. Apologies about fucking rambling and talking about the same things time and time again. This whole thing has just been a stream of consciousness because I feel like I wanted to do it. I've not wanted to do anything like this for a while, but I will get back to streaming. But I want to figure out if I can insert this photography thing once a week in it as well. I just need to organize it with the guy and get it sorted out and actually do it, and figure out if I do have the energy and the drive to do streaming the same day all the time, for that matter, because I don't want to move things around, you know. But this week, a lot of the things I would usually do is not happening because people have other stuff going on. So I'm going to use this week those days in order to clean and do a bunch of other stuff. And just chill out more, relax with playing some Pokemon, watching some things on the television. and just, or more accurately, the computer, and just chilling out, enjoying life, and focusing on what matters: my mental health, my physical health, and my just enjoyment, you know. And yeah, so again, it's not like I'm ignoring the issues that I care about. It's that I'm trying to apply them to real life in ways that I can. You know, I don't need to be the savior of the motherfucking universe, but if I can implant my ideas into people's heads, if I can make other people feel heard because they have ideas that aren't easy to talk about, then yeah, you know. I'm getting a lot of the fulfillment that I used to get online in the real life, in the real world now, without a lot of the added stress that comes for conversing from people with people online, because most people online are incredibly one-sided and tribal. So yeah, that's why you're not seeing much from me. That's why I've not come back in January just yet, and I probably won't, because I want to get this stuff sorted first. I know I'm going to be busy at some point next week as well. So yeah. It's funny, I actually feel like I have a lot more time now as well. Probably because I'm not wasting a lot of it getting into pointless arguments with one-sided tribals online. You know? I'll talk shit every now and again. Sometimes I'll feel the itch and I'll go online, I'll browse Twitter, and I'll talk shit. However, there is a Facebook group called Badass Emo World Shitposting or something like that. And I've found that I can scratch that same itch and be a snarky fuck through that, because the whole point of the fucking group is to make and share stupid werewolf-themed memes. Like, really stupid werewolf-themed memes. It's a shit posting, and it's scratching that same itch that I get. I feel being scratched when I'm a snarky bitch engaging in political debate. So I feel as if it's ironically much more, what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say fulfilling, but much more poignant or much more practical. That's the word. It's a far more practical to engage in just making stupid memes and sharing stupid memes and doing that than it is being a stupid meme and engaging in political debate. Because I know I can apply this shit to real life far more effectively and in a more fulfilling way than I can arguing with one-sided tribals online. So, yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Hopefully it continues that way. It's literally just the start of the fucking year, and in general, unlike most people, January is typically a year in which I'm pretty good, because we're right after Christmas. I fucking hate December. We're right after Christmas. All of that stress is gone. We don't have to deal with the screaming and shouting and parties of New Year, which thankfully actually wasn't that bad this time around. And people are finally calming the fuck down and getting on with things without the holly jolly bullshit, without the consumerist bullshit, just continuing on. So I like January because January is dead. It is a dark, cold, quiet month where it feels like you have all the time in the world, where things slow the fuck down. At least, because I have a lot of friends that work, and outside of work, if you're working certain jobs this time of year, I get why you hate January. But for me, January is a time of year where things slow the fuck down. Nights are darker, things are colder, it's generally just slow and quiet and relaxing, and I can get into that. But December is just fucking chaos. And you will be holly, you will be jolly, bye 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 bye. You need this thing for Christmas, you need this thing for Christmas, you need this thing for Christmas. Do you want to have a good Christmas? Christmas, 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 Christmas. And they start like several months early. Christmas, Christmas, Christmas. Like ever since like, I'd say September, Christmas bullshit starts. And then by the time you've hit December, it is being punched in your face. Christmas, 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 all the fucking time. And then I, to be honest, this past year, I didn't realize how much it stressed me the fuck out until it was over. And I was laying down with the dogs, cuddling the dogs on my couch while playing on the Switch. And it hit me. wow, I am so much more relaxed right now and have been for the past few days than I was around Christmas. Thank God it's over. I don't like Christmas. And I didn't realize just how much it fucking bugged me until it was over. And I calmed the fuck down in general. Like, Jesus Christ. I don't like Christmas. I really don't like Christmas. I'm so glad that I was able to get out of most of it. If I could get out of the entirety of it, I would, but I can't. But at least I've got out of most of it. But yeah, I mean, Christmas doesn't help with weight loss either. I got a present from one half of my family that was a massive bar of chocolate about this big. It went in an hour. But I don't eat chocolate, generally speaking. I'll buy dark chocolate every now and again. But there's a big fucking thing of Galaxy milk chocolate. It went in an hour. Because it's there. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to get shit done. Thank you very much for listening to this entire thing. If you have, you're a star. I'm good. Hopefully I continue to be good. Hopefully the rest of the year is going to be okay. I'm sure things will rile up a little bit due to, I think we're getting closer to America's presidential season. So that'll be fun when that hits the top. Because obviously this shit will affect us in some ways. But yeah, I'm just avoiding the news. I'm avoiding bullshit. And life is better because, quite frankly, the more you look at that stuff, the more you get angry. Because if you genuinely do care, and you're not just batting for your team, this shit is maddening. Because everyone, regardless of what side you're on, everyone is a fucking nut job. So when you take yourself away from that and you focus more on the real world, or the online stuff that actually matters, life's a lot better. And I've known this for ages, but it's been difficult to pull me away. I still need to call my YouTube channel though. I've not done that yet. But thankfully, I've kind of been focusing on like a handful of channels that I've been watching. Not really engaged in a lot of the ones I'm subscribed to. So one of these days, I'm going to go for a massive cull of my YouTube channel and just get rid of a bunch of shit that's just not adding anything positive to my life. I know I unsubscribed from the Lotus Eaters a while ago. They're right-wingers. I don't agree with them a lot of the time. I think they're incredibly ignorant with some topics, especially around the LGBT. But I also agree with them on a few things, including the LGBT. It's funny how that works, isn't it? But it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I listen to them. I'm like, yes, I agree. This is a problem. What's their solution? Traditionalism! Christianity! Oh, cool, you're right-wingers. Oh, how very predictable. You know what I mean? But, yeah, I unsubscribed from them for a while ago because it's the same shit over and over again. The world is ending! The West is dying! Yeah, okay. Okay. I agree, there's a lot of bullshit around right now, but we're still here. Anyway, I'm going to shut the fuck up now before I go on to another topic. Bye for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you watched this whole thing, you are a fucking star. Say hello to my first video of 2024, I think, and like the first proper video like this I've done for a while. I'll get back to streaming when I can, but for now, I want to focus on things that are better for my mental and physical health. Don't get me wrong, I love streaming. I love chatting with you guys. It's a lot of fun, but if I want to figure out if I can fit it in first. So, yeah. Because there's a lot of games that I want to play this year, like Dragon's Dogma, and, you know, like, shit like that. I want to go through the last fucking Cage game, Detroit Become Human. I want to go through Road 96, and that kind of thing, you know. I want to play through a bunch of games. I still not need to go around to the Mass Effect series as well, which I'll probably do the upgraded versions, because I've not played those ones yet. So, yeah, I want to do a lot of that shit this year. But we'll figure out when we can do it. So, bye for now. I almost exited OBS there. No, I don't want to exit. I want to press stop recording. Fuck me, I'm out of practice.